that he was the pirate king, but he wasn't ready to step to evil. Instead, he chose the easy way out. My boy Roger rather killed himself. He ended up turning himself in, saying that he was sick. Well, see, I don't really know. First time in a long time that I've had to mute my Twitter timeline because there were a lot of people who spoil or are known for spoilers. If you guys are in the One Piece community, they were going crazy on like a Monday. And so I decided to mute everything because I didn't want to get spoiled. And I am very happy that I didn't, because this has been one of Oda's best chapters. Nothing crazy in terms of action happened, but just in terms of the lore and just advancing the story. Oh, this might be one of the most, if not the most important chapter of One Piece up to date. Let's get right into it. The chapter starts off with Loki. He is bleeding out, coughing, talking about, hey, you're the spitting image of red-haired Shanks, talking to Shamrock. However, Shamrock goes ahead and clears up everything and confirms the theory that everyone said, is that him and Shanks are twins and that Shanks is the younger one. Now, I do want to mention earlier we knew they were related, but we didn't know exactly if they were just brothers, because one could be like 5 or 6 years older, or if they were twins, and it's confirmed they are twins. But they also said at one point he did return to the Holy Land, and this has me wondering if Shanks still was the individual that met with the Gorse, if that was the moment that he met with them or returned to the Holy Land. I'm still not sure exactly what time. Did it happen right after Roger's death? I think we'll probably see it at some point whenever we get either Shanks or Shamrock's flashback. It is kind of crazy how Loki, he has beef with both brothers. Shanks obviously because he was the person that caused him to be chained up and imprisoned like this, and then Shamrock because, well, he allowed Gunko to beat him up and is still technically beating him up after chapter progresses. But something that's really interesting is Shanks's, or I'm gonna mess this up a lot, Shamrock, his sword, it turns into a Cerberus. If you guys don't know what a Cerberus is, off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be the guard dog to hell. I know most recently where I saw something like this was in Soul Leveling Season 1. The first thing I want to talk about is the Cerberus, because it is known, well, as I mentioned, the guard dog of hell, and it has 3 heads. But if you look at a Shamrock, it's kind of fitting because a Shamrock is known to have 3 cloves or leaves. I don't really exactly know what that's supposed to be called, but you guys get the point. And the second thing, this isn't the first time that we've seen a sword turn into like a devil fruit or an animal. We saw it with Funkfried, I believe, back with Spandam, that his sword ended up eating a devil fruit. So I wonder if Shamrock's sword ate the legendary or mythical zone and is able to turn into the Cerberus. The crazy thing is that Shamrock says that this is his biting blade, and the Cerberus ends up turning into a giant. Hell, he's even bigger than Loki. So the fact that Shamrock can just leave the sword here, and I guess it'll end up finding its way back to him because it's a dog and probably has something to do with the scent, something along those lines. But yeah, the fact that, I mean, Loki, he's chained up, I get it, but the fact that a sword can do the bidding on its own, I think we got some stock in Shamrock. He's definitely strong. Shamrock, he issues a challenge. He's like, hey, if you're able to survive this, come and face me. I'm willing to challenge you. But obviously he doesn't think Loki's going to survive this because he has full-on belief in his blade that is going to be able to do the job. And Loki being chained up, it's not like he could really defend himself or anything. So I really wonder who's going to be the individual that saves Loki from this, which is kind of crazy because he got stabbed in this chapter. So maybe he just gets stabbed and survives. I'm not sure. Loki definitely didn't die here, but because they're having a hard time, well, one, they had a hard time trying to break Loki, they decide, hey, getting the warriors, that might be something that we can't entirely do, so let's go after the children. One thing that I mentioned in my breakdown was the fact that, yes, I believe in Gunko and Shamrock's strength, but looking at the giants, looking at the Straw Hats being here, just the 2 of them isn't going to be enough. So I wondered if they were going to try and call up or summon other members of the Holy Knights, and based off of the conversation by Gunko and Shamrock, it appears that someone else is going to join the fray. So hey, maybe we get Luffy, Sanji, Sanji and Zoro versus the 3 Holy Knights, I'm down for it. Or at the same time, you could also argue that one of them might be Nami, because we know the group that is at the castle. Speaking of the castle, the Giants, Luffy, he ends up talking to them, how they're like, hey, Shanks and Red Hair is the one that attacked us. Obviously, it's someone that looks like Shanks, but it's not him, because well, Shanks is missing an arm and he also has a scar on his face. And I love Luffy here because he has the utmost trust in Shanks and believes him, as he should, where he talks about Shanks would never do like this. He's such a chill and kind-hearted person. Nami, if Belmere, if she was to do something like this, or somebody that had her face, would you believe that it's her? Obviously Nami wouldn't, and obviously his crew, Zoro and Nami, are definitely going to trust Luffy's words, where Luffy's like, well, now that I think about it, Shanks, he never really talked about his family. He just assumed that his family was, well, number one, Uta, because of the stuff that technically happens in film Red. I know it's kind of canon, kind of not, but at the same time, he talked about he assumed and figured that Roger and Rayleigh were his real family and the crew. And upset for Buggy, obviously he doesn't like Buggy, where all of a sudden a man with a straw hat, the person that we've seen a couple of times just walking towards the castle, people still think it's Shiki. I'm starting to think it's Gabon. But if you guys have made it this far into the video and you're enjoying the content, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. I pump out different One Piece content almost each and every day. We got to Franky's group, who is just, I say his group, but it's just him and Ripley. They are looking at the treasure tree. Adam talking about, hey, you know, I thought this was supposed to be rare, but if you look at how big the tree is, and there's other trees that exist, well, it is rare, but if it's this big, it doesn't really necessarily seem like that. Where Ripley's like, hey, if we're able to, you know, cut it a little bit and steal some, we can make a huge fortune. I love Ripley's personality, but obviously Franky is going to do this because of what he talked about with Saul and how sacred it is, all of that. Now, something that Franky noticed is that there's a mural that is drawn on here, and it's said to date back 800, well, between 800 and 900 years, which is the time of the Void Century. So obviously we need to get Robin to look at it, because the drawings are a little bit interesting. Not all of them are figures that look like giants. It looks like normal people. What's crazy about this is the mural, Ripley, she doesn't really put too much thought in it. She says she thinks it was probably just a kid's dream, which two things I want to mention. Number one, does that mean that the person that was Joy Boy, well, not Joy Boy, but maybe Nika was at some point a child? And two, maybe she just doesn't believe in this history at all. But that's because she didn't put 2 and 2 together, because Robin, she's able to look at the Harley text. Now, to be fair, some of it is a little bit missing. Of course, they mention that, but if you look at the text, what it says, and you compare it to the mural, well, a deep mythology is revealed, because there's so much that is revealed about the 2 instances where the world was destroyed. And then the third world is obviously going to be Luffy and his final battle, because they mentioned the Dawn as well. I don't want to go too into the mural and what the 3 like statements from the Harley actually say. I do plan on making a video that's going to drop on Sunday where I break down each of the 3 worlds and then talk about their mural, as well as do just the entire chapter breakdown like I typically do, and that'll go up on Tuesday. I will say the mural is beautiful. Some things that I can point out immediately is you see the ancient weapons, you see Nika, you see different things like the Lunarians and the 20 nations, as well as Emmett and Emu. It's actually beautifully drawn, probably one of Oda's best works, and as I mentioned, one of his most important ones. We do gotta flame Roger a little bit, because it is kind of crazy that he was the pirate king, but he wasn't ready to step to Emu. Instead, he chose the easy way out. My boy Roger rather killed himself. He ended up turning himself in, saying that he was sick. Well, see, I don't really know, but he faked being sick, got executed instead of having to deal with all this, because based off of the mural, if it's true, Joy Boy had all like different nations and different like alliances, whether it was giants, minks, Lunarians, just everyone. And Emu was like, popped his collar, was like, ha ha, come get some. Like I said, I'll go into that in another video, but this chapter, it's trending, it's gas. Like there's just so much to unpack. Gotta talk to some people, gotta read some different Reddit posts, some community threads, because yeah, this one, I ain't even gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna lie. My first 2 times reading it, I didn't understand the Harley text. It was a little bit confusing, but now that I've read what other people are saying, trying to decipher it, putting 2 and 2 together, looking at other stuff that Vegapunk said and stuff that happened in Skypiea, which people want to skip that, but that arc is probably one of the most important ones in the series. Let me know how you guys feel about chapter 1131 in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video from me. Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.